getting one byte of upload. Cuts out and like Shri Guru Guranga Gandhika Giri Bihari Ju ki jai. Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitil Vishwa Chala Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ashtara Shatashmar Chala Bhakti Nitil Vishwa Vishnupar Ashtara Shatashmar Chala Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Vishwa Vishnupar Ashtara Shatashmar Vishnupar Ashtara Shatashmar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhu Mahabhagavat Shlok Sharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Vishnu Mashla Jagannath Shri Rupa Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupapal Patda Shri Sarup Damadari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Nam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Adhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Yes, I am on my sim. It's cutting out a lot, huh? Shiksheta Mandal, Gora Mandal, Braja Mandal, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishya Bhadata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Go. Is it too bad? Like, it's a bit better? Okay. Well, if it's just too bad, then maybe we should just read tomorrow. Anyhow, I've been trying to connect to the internet for a really long time, since before 7 o'clock. Anyhow, what to do? Sometimes it's just like that. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, cool, thanks. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Guruve Namah Namo Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Vedanta Narayana Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Murtale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namo Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Guruve Gaurachandraya Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Prabrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhine Dustang Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayit Shrinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridantastoya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam Nashta Prayashvabadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Vaivasmi Nivami Tvaya Vina Igyaya Rate Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtakama Ditarangamadhe Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Naste Charanaravindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. I'm going to just check after each verse to see if there's any comments, to see if the internet's good or not, because I don't have my second display right now. Oh, wait. Okay, searching for, we're reading from what? Verse 21, translation, right? I think so. I mean, purport. There. Okay. Just checking, just double checking. It's verse 20, yes, verse 21. Okay. Okay. So, today we read Brahma's prayers for creative impetus. First, he was explaining the Lord's supreme form, the predicament of the conditioned souls, the Lord's reciprocation with various abilities, and the obeisances unto Brahman and Bhagavan, the holy names, the cosmic tree, the time factor, various transforms, and then we ended with Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Yoga Nidra. And today we're going to read his verse and response to him. So this is, I'm just reading the translation of this verse. My Lord, you accept the pleasure of slaughter of devastation. There are violent waves. You enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen. O object of my worship, I am born from the house of your lotus navel for the purpose of creating the universe by your mercy. All these planets of the universe are stationed within your transcendental while enjoying sleep. Your sleep having ended, your eyes are open like blossoming roses in the morning. So that's where we read up to yesterday, but we didn't get to read the purport because time was up. So I'm going to read this purport now. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Brahma is teaching us the beginning of Archana regulations from morning to night, 10 o'clock. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Early in the morning, from his bed and pray to the Lord. And there are other regulative principles for offering Mangalarti early in the morning. Foolish non-devotees, not understanding the importance of Archan, criticize the regulative principles, but they have no eyes to see the Lord. But they have no eyes to see that the Lord also sleeps by his own will. The impersonal conception of the Supreme is so detrimental to the path of devotional service that it is very difficult to associate with the stubborn non-devotees who always think in terms of material conceptions. Impersonalists always think backwards. They think that because there is form and matter, spirit should be formless. Because in matter there is sleep, in spirit there cannot be sleep. And because the sleeping of the deity is accepted in archana worship, the archana is Maya. All these thoughts are basically material. To think either positively or negatively is still thinking materially. Knowledge except your source of the Vedas is standard. Here in these verses of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we find that archana is recommended. Before Brahma took up the task of creation, he found the Lord sleeping on the serpent bed in the waves of the water of devastation. Therefore, sleeping exists in the internal potency of the Lord. And this is not denied by pure devotees of the Lord, like Brahma and his disciplic succession. It is clearly said here that the Lord slept very happily within the violent waves of the water, manifesting thereby that he is able to do anything and everything by his transcendental will, and not be hampered by any circumstances. The Mayavadi cannot think beyond this material experience, and thus he denies the Lord's ability. His mistake is that he compares the Lord to himself, and that comparison is also a material thought. The whole philosophy of the Mayavad school, based on not that, neti, is basically material. Such thought cannot give one the chance to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is. Pranam Anjali. Okay. Soyang samasta jagatam suhrideka atma satvena yanmritayate bhagavan bhagena tenaiva me drishamanusprishataryataham srakshyami purvavada idam pranata priyoso. Let the Supreme Lord be merciful towards me. He is the one friend and soul of all living entities in the world, and he maintains all for their ultimate happiness by his 6 transcendental opulences. May he be merciful towards me so that I, as before, may be empowered with the introspection one of the souls. In both transcendence, he is the and love between the living entities and the Lord. He is the one friend and well-wisher for all, and he is one without a second. The Lord maintains entities everywhere. His 6 transcendental opulences, for which he is known as, are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Brahma prayed for his mercy so that he might be able to create the universal affairs as he did before. Only by the Lord's causeless mercy could he create both material and spiritual personalities like Marichi and Narad respectively. Brahma prayed to the Lord because he is very much dear to the surrendered soul. The surrendered soul knows nothing but the Lord, and therefore the Lord is very affectionate towards him. Esha prapanna varada ramayatmasha yadyarishyati grihita gunavatara tasmin svavikramamidam srijata picheto yunji The Supreme, the personality of Godhead, is always the benefit of the souls. His activities are always enacted through his potency, Rama, or the God fortune. I pray only to his service. I pray only engage in service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Purport. In the matter of creation, maintenance, and destruction, there are three incarnate material modes of nature: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. The Lord's incarnation as Vishnu and is the supreme energy for the total activities. Brahma, who is only an assistant in who is an assistant of creation, wanted to remain in his position as an instrument instead of becoming puffed up by the false prestige of thinking the creator. That is the way of becoming dear to the Supreme Lord and receiving his benediction. Foolish men want to take credit for all creations made by them, but intelligent persons know very well that not a blade of grass without the will of the Lord. Thus, all the credit for wonderful creations must go to him. By spiritual consciousness only can one be freed from the contamination of material affection and receive benedictions offered by the Lord. Every little wow, I just did this for a little insignificant thing, but what this, you know, I mean, even the little things I do, but Brahma is Naradadhyasatam bhasyasya pungso vijnana shaktirahanta shakte rupam kshetramidhamasya vrindvato me maririshta nigamasya girarga. The Lord's potencies are innumerable. As he lies down in the water of devastation, I am born as the total universal from the navel in which the lotus sprouts. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse in the form of the cosmic station. Therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the hymns. Purport. Every person engaged in the transcendental loving an ordinary contagious are the power of Brahminical excellence, due to his association with many fallen conditioned souls. Brahma, as the most Brahman, is afraid of such a fall down, and therefore he prays to the Lord for protection. This is a warning for one and all in the spiritual advancement of life. Unless sufficiently protected by the Lord, he may fall down in his spiritual position. Therefore, one has to the Lord for protection and the blessed to carry out one's duty. Lord Chaitanya also entrusted his missionary work to his devotees and assured them of his protection against the onslaught of material affection. The path of spiritual life is stated in the Vedas to be like the edge of a sharpened razor. A little inattentiveness may at once create havoc and bloodshed, but one who is a completely surrendered soul, always seeking protection from the Lord in the discharge of his entrusted duties, has no fear of falling into material contamination. Wow. I really like this. I'm going to save this. 1 second. Let me just save this one. Anyways, okay. Oh, I know this verse. This is the verse when before Mangalarti, when you wake up Thakurji. This is the verse to wake up Thakurji. I didn't even know that it was a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam verse. That's so neat. Wait, is it still going? Oh, shoot. Okay, looks like the internet's back again. Not sure what you guys missed. Oh my god. Anyhow, indeed, did it go out for a long time? The internet. What I was just saying is this verse here is the verse in Archandipika. It's the verse given to waken up the Lord or Mangalarti. So savada prakaruna bhagavan vreda prema smitena nayanam buruhum vijrimbam utaya vishwa vijayaya chana vishadam madhvagira panaya tat purusha purana. I didn't use. Okay. The Lord, who is supreme and is the oldest of all, is unlimitedly merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. Purport. The Lord is ever increasingly merciful upon the fallen souls of this material world. The whole cosmic manifestation is a chance for all to improve themselves in devotional service to the Lord, and everyone is for that purpose. The Lord expands himself into many personalities who are either self-expansions or separated expansions. Swangsha and Vibhinangsha. Right? I think so. The personalities of the souls are his separated expansions, whereas the self-expansions are the Lord himself. Yeah, the Swangsha is his separated expansions, the individual souls. Sorry, the Vibhinangsha. Whereas the self-expansions, the Swangsha, are the Lord himself. The self-expansions are predominators, and separated expansions are predominated for the reciprocation of transcendental bliss within the supreme form of bliss and knowledge. The liberated souls can join. Okay, the liberated souls can join in this blissful reciprocation of predominator and predominated without purely concocted ideas. The typical example of such a transcendental exchange between the predominator and the predominated is the Lord's Ras Lila with the gopis. The gopis are dominated expansions of the internal potency, and therefore the Lord's participation in the Ras Lila dance is never to be considered like the mundane relationship of man and woman. It is rather the highest perfectional stage of the exchange of feelings between the Lord and the living entities. The Lord gives the fallen souls the chance for this highest perfection of life. Lord Brahma is entrusted with the management of the complete cosmic show, and therefore he prays that the Lord bestow his blessings on him so that he may execute its purpose. Maitreya Uvacha. Okay. Swasvam bhavam nishamyaya swasvam bhavam nishamyam nashayaivam sorry. Tapavedya divi yavan manavachatva virama sakinavat. The sage Maitreya said, O Vidura, after observing the source of his appearance, namely the personality of Godhead, Brahma prayed for his mercy as far as his mind and words would permit him. Thus, having prayed, he became silent, as if tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and mental concentration. Thus, having prayed, he became silent, as if tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and material concentration. Purport. Brahma's enlightenment and knowledge was due to the Lord sitting within his heart. After being created, Brahma could not ascertain the source of his appearance, but after penance and mental concentration, he could see the source of his birth, and thus he became enlightened through his heart. The spiritual master outside the spiritual master outside and the spiritual master within are both representations of the Lord. One's Diksha Guru and the Chaita Guru. Unless one has contact with such bona fide representations, one cannot claim to be a spiritual master. Lord Brahma had no opportunity to take help of a spiritual master from outside, because at that time, Brahma himself was the only creature in the universe. Therefore, on becoming satisfied by the prayers of Brahma, the Lord enlightened him about everything from within. Ata vipretam anvika brahmana marusudan vishanatam chetena kalpayati karam bhasa atmana parikhyata tama ahagadhaya vacha kasham shamayam. It looks like there's a line missing. Shoot. Text 2078. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't want to all this read every single verse of the Bhagavatam except for one line. 27:28. Sorry. I just can't miss this line here. 27. I lost my bookmark. Okay. Sorry. Loka samstana vijnana atmana parikhyata tamagadhaya tam ahagadhaya vacha kashmalam shamayam iva. Okay. The Lord saw that Brahma was anxious about the planning and action of the different planetary systems, and was depressed upon seeing the devastating water. He could understand the intention of Brahma, and thus he spoke in deep, removing all illusion that had arisen. Purport. Dang it, it's gone again. Okay, now the internet's it. Okay, I'm just going to stop after verse 33. I was thinking of doing the whole chapter, but this is too much. All right. The devastating water was so fearful that even Brahma was perturbed at its appearance and became very anxious about how to situate the different planetary systems in outer space to accommodate the different kinds of living entities, such as the human beings, those lower than the human beings, and the superhuman beings. All the planets in the universe are situated according to the different grades of living entities under the influence of the modes of material nature. There are 3 modes of matter, and when they are mixed with one another, they become 9. When the 9 are mixed, they become 81. And the 81 also become, and when the 81 also become mixed, and the 81 also become mixed. And thus, we ultimately do not know how the delusion increases we do not know how the delusion increases. Brahma had to accommodate different places and only for Brahma, and how difficult it was. It keeps on going out and coming back. Oh God. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Anyways, Okay, I just sent a message out. Yeah, I just sent a message out saying that if you want, you can read till on your own to verse 33, because it's too bad. I sent a link. For anybody who's watching and isn't reading with the book, I sent a link so that you could read it on your own. We're almost finished. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Mavida Garbhagastandrim Sarga Udyamamavaha Tanmaya Paditam Hyagre Yang Prartayate Bhavan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then said, O Brahma, O depth of Vedic wisdom, be neither depressed nor anxious about the execution of creation. What you are begging for me has already been granted before. Purport. Any person authorized by either the Lord or by his bona fide representative is already blessed, as is the work entrusted to him. The representative is blessed, and also the work entrusted to him is blessed. Of course, the person entrusted with such a responsibility should always be aware of his incapability and must always look for the mercy of the Lord for the successful execution of his duty. One should not be puffed up because he is entrusted with certain executive work. Fortunate is he who is so entrusted, and if he is always fixed in the sense of being subordinate to the will of the Supreme, he is sure to come out successful in the discharge of his work. Arjuna was entrusted with the work of fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he was so entrusted. The Lord had already arranged for his victory. But Arjuna was always conscious of his position as a subordinate to the Lord, and thus he accepted him as a supreme guide in his responsibility. Anyone who takes pride in doing responsible work but does not give credit to the Supreme Lord is certainly falsely proud and cannot execute anything nicely. Brahma and persons in the line of his disciplic succession who follow in his footsteps are always successful in the discharge of loving transcendental service to the Supreme Lord. Wow, that is a beautiful purport. I'm saving that one also. Okay. Bhoyastam tapa atishta vedam chaiva marashrayam tabhyam antar hridi brahman lokan drakshasya pavritam. O Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation, and follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. By these actions, you will be able to understand everything from within your heart. The mercy the Lord bestows upon a particular person engaged in executing the responsible work entrusted unto him is beyond imagination. The mercy is beyond imagination. But his mercy is received due to our and perseverance executing devotional service. Brahma was entreating the planetary systems. The Lord instructed him that when he meditated, he would very easily know where and how the planetary systems must be arranged. The directions were to come from within, and there was no necessity for anxiety in that task. Such instructions of yoga are directly imparted by the Lord from within, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Like this purport also. I'll save it later. Tat atmani loke cha yukta samahita drashtasi mam tatang brahman mayi lokang svamana. O Brahma, when you are absorbed in devotional service in the course of your creative activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe, and you will see that you yourself, the universe, and the living entities are all in me. Purport. It is cited herein by the Lord that during his daytime, Brahma would see him as Lord Shri Krishna. He would appreciate how the Lord expanded himself into all the calves during his childhood at Vrindavan. He would know how Yashoda Mai saw all the universes and planetary systems within the mouth of Krishna during his playful childhood pastimes. And he would also see that there are millions of Brahmas during the appearance of Lord Krishna in Brahma's daytime. That there are many millions of Brahmas during the appearance of Lord Krishna in Brahma's daytime. But all these manifestations of the Lord appearing everywhere in his eternal transcendental forms cannot be understood by anyone but the pure devotees who are always engaged in devotional service to the Lord and are fully absorbed in the Lord. The high qualifications of Brahma are also indicated herein. Wow, I want to be referring to the Braj pastimes. That's really cool. Yada tu sarva bhuteshu darushvagnem ivastitam pratichakshitamam loko jahyatar yeva kashmalam. You will see me. You will see me in all living entities as over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood. Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. Purport. Brahma prayed that he might not forget his eternal relationship with the Lord during the course of his material activities. In answer to that prayer, the Lord said that he should not think of existing without a relationship with his omnipotency. The example is given of fire and wood, the fire and wood. The fire kindled in wood is always the same, although the wood may be of different types. Similarly, the bodies within the material creation may be specifically different according to the shape and quality, but the spirit souls within them are not different from one another. The quality of fire, warmth, is the same everywhere, and the spiritual spark, or part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit, is the same in every living being. Thus, the potency of the Lord is distributed all over his creation. This transcendental knowledge alone can save one from the contamination of material illusion. Since the Lord's potency is distributed everywhere, a pure soul, or devotee of the Lord, can see everything in relationship with the Lord, and therefore he has no affection for the outer coverings. That pure spiritual conception makes him immune to all contamination of material association. The pure devotee never forgets the touch of the Lord. The pure devotee never forgets the touch of the Lord in all circumstances. Okay, so we're ending with this verse. Yadarahitam atmanam bhutendriya gunashayai swarupena mayopetam pashyan sarajamrichati. When you are free from the conception of gross and subtle bodies, and when your senses are free from all influences of the modes of material nature, you will realize your pure form in my association. At that time, you will be situated in pure consciousness. Purport. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that a person whose only desire is to render transcendental loving service to the Lord is a free person in any condition of material existence. That service attitude is the Swarup, or real form of the living entity. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also confirms this statement by declaring that the real spiritual form of the living entity is the eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord. The Mayavad school shudders at the thought of a servitude in the living entity, not knowing that in the transcendental world, the service of the Lord is based on transcendental love. Transcendental loving service is never to be compared to the forced service of the material world. In the material world, even if one is under the conception that he is no one's servant, he is still the servant of his senses under the condition of the material modes. Factually, no one is master here in the material world, and therefore the servants of the senses have a very bad experience of servitude. They shudder at the thought of service because they have no knowledge of the transcendental position. In transcendental loving service, the servitor is as free as the Lord. The Lord is Swarat, or fully independent, and the servant is also fully independent, or Swarat, in the spiritual atmosphere, because there is no forced service. There, the transcendental loving service is due to spontaneous love. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother. A reflected glimpse of such service is experienced in the service of the mother to the son, the friend's service unto the friend, or the wife's service unto the husband. These reflections of service by friends, parents, or wives are not forced, but are due only to love. Here in this material world, however, the loving service is only a reflection. The real service, or service in Svarup, is present in the transcendental world in association with the Lord. The very same service in transcendental love can be practiced in devotion here. This verse is also applicable to the Jnani school. The enlightened Jnani, when free from all material contamination, namely the gross and subtle bodies together with the sense of the material modes of nature, is placed in the supreme, and is thus liberated from material bondage. The Jnanis and the devotees are actually in agreement up to the point of liberation from material contamination. But whereas the Jnanis remain pacified on the platform of simple understanding, the devotees develop further spiritual advancement and loving service. The devotees develop a spiritual individuality in their spontaneous service attitude, which is enhanced on and on, up to the point of Madhurya Rasa, or transcendental service reciprocated between the lover and the beloved. Wow, today's purport's like especially beautiful. I don't know. This is I really liked the purports today. I liked Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shish Guru Gauranga Gadar Giri Dhari, Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashwar, Srila Bhakti Grantha Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashwar, Srila Bhakti Grantha Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnupad Ashtatarashwar, Srila Bhakti Grantha Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashwar, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatarashwar, Srila Bhakti Pragyan, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Mahabhagavat Srila Gorkisharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath, Shar Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Nandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Mandal Vajamandal Radha Kun Shama Kun Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai, Shinitai Gaura Premanande Haribo, Vrindai Tulsi Deva Rai Keshavascha, Krishna Bhakti Pada Devi Sattatai Namo Namaha, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Dandavat pranams.